director Rob Christopher approached you on doing a documentary on your Chicago experience, what instructions did you have for him?
The thing is that when Rob approached me about doing a film in the first place, a documentary, I was not for it because
Okay.
films, feature documentaries have been done in France and in Italy, and they were the usual, they were well done, but, and shown in theaters and on TV and all that. And they were talking heads and all that. I said, well, okay, you can do a film, but I don't want it to be about me and I don't want to be in it. So he thought, well, how do I do this? I said, well, I want it to be about a character, Roy, who's in the book Roy's World, which came out recently. And, you can figure it out for yourself.
Right.
And he did it. I mean, it was really miraculous.
Since Roy is a fictional version of yourself, what traits did you give him that you don't necessarily have to create a broader or more accessible character?
First of all, it's really not about me.
Okay.
The definition of fiction means that you made it up. So of course I used, I was born in Chicago, and our family headquarters were there. So I was back and forth between Key West, Florida, really, sometimes New Orleans and in Chicago, but I went to grammar school most of the time in Chicago and in high school, certainly. So those were my formative years. And I left when I was 17, but it's not a conventional autobiography at all. There are autobiographical elements and all the touchstones, and memories and that kind of thing. But I wanted to do a very different kind of particular study, and that's what Roy's World is. And Rob, captured it.
Your father, as you state in the film, was involved in underworld activities, which was related to organized crime elements. How did that relate to Chicago in the context of your story?
The point about Chicago is that almost everybody we came in contact with, my family, were involved with the rackets in some way or another. And my dad included. Now, my dad died when I was just barely 12 years old.
Right.
But I did get an opportunity to travel around with him some and meet his associates, as it were. He owned and operated an all-night pharmacy on the corner of Chicago and Rush Streets.
Right.
So I was familiar with, the showgirls from the Club Alabama next door and Ricardo's restaurant around the corner and all that. And that was the center of Chicago, the club district in those days. And it was a very lively place. And so, I remember one night he came in, it was about 3:30 in the morning, and I was sitting on a stack of newspapers. And he came in and he saw that there was a guy who was an ex-cop who now, I don't know who he worked for specifically, was letting me hold his gun. And my dad just gave him a look, and the guy took the gun back and, put it in his jacket pocket and, left. But that was the kind of place it was. We didn't need any words to describe that. So I supplied the words in Roy's World.
So this is my final question. If you were to update Roy and make him an adult of your current age and base him on the person you are now, how do you think his voice would be different?
But everything is based on curiosity and risk. And to be successful, you've got to have some imagination. And I think anybody who understands this, because this is the heart of the matter, would be just like I am. Willing to take a chance. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. I didn't go to college, really. I went very, very briefly for a few months, and that was the end. And I just, as far as formal education was concerned, I wanted to get out in the world and make my own way and, get my education that way. And I'm still doing it. Roy's World is a history of a time and place that doesn't exist any longer. Yeah. And I think value to anybody, who really is interested. I'm only 75 years old. It was my uncle, Les, who raised me, basically, who said, anyone who dies before the age of 120 died prematurely. So, and then
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2021.